Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. A very warm good afternoon to all the members and our eminent faculties that we are joined today for the eighth session of Triple E. Today, we are going to deliberate on the topic social stock exchange and social impact assessment. The social stock exchanges were launched as a trading platform, allowing all the social businesses and non-profit organizations to raise capital by attracting ethical investors willing to invest in organizations with dual mission. First, the corporate, and another one is the social. However, validating social impact requires a rigorous social audit measurement framework, and to conduct that impact assessment, we need trained social impact assessors. The evolution of concept of social stock exchange encapsulates regulatory compliances, impact reporting frameworks, and financial instruments. And this new concept requires in-depth knowledge and specialist skill set to understand the nitty-gritties of compliance and reporting framework of social stock exchange and impact assessment. Today, to understand the nuances of social stock exchange, social audit, and impact assessment, we have three subject speakers with us. Dr. Nitin TK, his consultant, Center for Capacity Building, NISM. Mr. Kaushal Kishore Kumar, his senior manager, Investor Awareness Services and Social Stock Exchange, NSC. And Dr. Ajay Garg, his social entrepreneur and a renowned writer. Now it's my proud privilege to read out their brief profile in front of all our learned members. First speaker for today's session is Mr. Kaushal Kishore Kumar. He is going to deliberate on the topic social stock exchange and listing procedures. He is an international development professional with over 12 years of extensive sector experience in the area of government advisory, development strategy, and diversification, program design and management, public policy advisory, monitoring, evaluation, and social impact. Currently, he is working as a senior manager at National Stock Exchange and is responsible for overall implementation of social stock exchange of NSC in India. Our second speaker for today's session is Dr. Nitin TK. He is a science graduate and postgraduate doctorate in financial management from Pune University. He has been working as a senior vice president with National Institute of Security Markets since June 2011. Presently, he looks after certification of associated person in security markets through online certification examination and continuing professional education program. He is also the controller of examination. In a career span of 29 years, he has been worked as in the area of banking, corporate finance, merchant banking, corporate and retail credit, retail broking, training, and in academics. Third eminent speaker for today's session is Dr. Ajay Garg. He's an effective speaker, technical author, writer, and social entrepreneur with total corporate experience of more than 38 years. By qualification, he is an economics postgraduate, commerce postgraduate, MBA, law graduate, a fellow company secretary, FICA. He is a registered valuer, IPR attorney, qualified IP, QID, QSA, and a doctorate. He has done mentorship on the Startup India portal. He has served as director on the board of Corporation Bank from 2008 to 2011 for a period of 3 years. He is the honorary secretary general of National Order Research and Management Institute for the year 23-24 and 24-25. It's our proud privilege to have these three eminent speakers for today's session and get benefited from their words of wisdom in the arena of social stock exchange and impact assessment. And with their brief profile, we welcome them at the eighth session of Triple E Master Knowledge Series and hope to have a enthusiastic learning. So first of all, I would like to call on the forum to Mr. Kaushal Kumar to deliberate on the topic social stock exchange and listing. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you so much, everybody. Can I share my slide just for the benefit of others?
Yes, sir, you can share your screen.
Yeah, I'm just so, so hope my screen is visible now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's start with the kind of overview of social stock exchange, and we may have some idea about this entire phenomena, but again, for the benefit of everybody, I'm going to repeat few things, and then we will go get into the technicality and entire procedure of registration and listing, and then followed by the other speakers would be, you know. So now, when we talk about social stock exchange, just yeah, so it's an electronic fundraising platform for social enterprise. So it's for both not-for-profit and for-profit organization. But right now, it's only live for for-profit organization. Sorry, not-for-profit organizations and for-profit organizations. There are other methods and mechanisms for fundraising through social stock exchange that we will talk about later. So this is a regulated platform that brings together social organizations and impact investors or donors. Before talking about all these things, we can also have a sort of understanding that why this social stock exchange were required. So number one was like if we talk about the number of NPOs available, non-profit organizations or NGOs available in India, uh, it's more than 30 lakhs. And if we only talk about the Darpan platform, it's more than 2 lakhs. So as a donor, if I have to support some cause, it is very difficult to select one donor and supporting that NPO and keep funding them because it's a lot of like confusion and mainly related to trust and due diligence. So that is why this platform actually has a kind of trust factor, how it puts trust and transparency and all those things that we'll talk about it. So this actually facilitates funding and growth of social enterprise, and it is a totally separate segment of NSE. So just like NSE has a main board SMA listing, this social stock exchange is a separate segment. So when we talk about the key features of social stock exchange, it has performance oriented philanthropy based mechanism where you have to talk about outcome, you have to showcase your outcome, and that is where like impact funding, sorry, impact assessment will come in place. Then minimum registration and listing fee. So when we talk about NSE, SSC registration and listing fee, there is no listing fee as of now. And for registration, we are just having the minimal charge of 5,000 plus applicable taxes. It has synergy in social aims because we know that sustainable development goals have 17 different goals, and also like those are a kind of entire those are the key activities. So this covers almost all the goals related to social development. Then simple and transparent disclosures are there. So that also we will talk about that how often, what is the frequency, what sorts of disclosures we have to take care of once one NPO is registered or they are listed. It reduces time and cost on due diligence and impact assessment. Yeah. So when we talk about registration and listing on social stock exchange, once one organization is one NPO is registered, it helps other funders and donors also, even if they are not funding through social stock exchange. I mean, it actually help them to you know uh, go through this. I mean, it builds a trust where they might skip the due diligence because they see that social stock exchange and NSE has done that due diligence. So it reduces time and cost at donor at the part of donor as well as the NPO side as well, because they also have to go through a lot of audit reports and all those things, and different donors demand different due diligence template and different parameters. So that is where NPO also it helps NPO as well. Then timely disclosure and impact assessment. So everything has a timeline. So this is overall basics about social stock exchange and its key features. When we talk about its timeline, so let's see the timeline of its implementation. So how it actually emerged. So in 2019, our honorable finance minister in her budget speech, she actually mentioned that how, because we all know that capital market is emerging day by day, and she just wanted how the capital markets can get closer to the masses and meet various social welfare objectives related to inclusive growth and financial inclusion. So she actually seeded the entire, not framework, but she actually gave an idea of social stock exchange. So in July 2019, ideation of social stock exchange came into picture through our Honorable Finance Minister. Then, based on that, in September 2019, SEBI formed one working group, and they actually went through extensive research and doing certain benchmarking around all the social stock exchanges available globally, how they are working. Because if we go inside that, there are many social stock exchanges globally. They are not doing so well. So based on that, all those things, they came up with one working group report uploaded by SEBI for public comments in June 2020. And that working group report is available in the public domain. If you want to read that, you can go through them. After that, in September 20, a technical group was formed.
Mr. Audio is not coming.
Yeah, some call was coming on my phone. Sorry.
Yes. So
Yeah,
kindly do the
yeah.
slideshow mode, please.
Pardon?
The slideshow mode.
Slideshow mode. Okay, it's not on. Okay. Is it on? Yeah, now it's okay,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So what happened after that? That in September 2022, a detailed framework by SEBI was no. So September 2020, technical group was formed, and that group was formed to actually talk about the implementation parameters and nitty-gritties of social stock exchange. All the important parameters coming up with the implementation thing. And then in May 2021, they come up with the report by technical group. And then in September 2022, detailed SSC framework by SEBI was, launched. So in October, SSC Governing Council was formed, and I'm not sure if you know that Dr. R. Balasubramanian is the chairperson of that Governing Council formation. And this council actually, time to time, they seek feedback and voices from the ecosystem, and the entire council is very proactive, and they take care of all the new things. They discuss it, and they come up with the changes and all required, amendments and innovations and all those things. So in February 2023, NSE Social Stock Exchange got approval, and since then it is live. And in April 2023, we had first registration on NSE SSC platform. In August, first draft fundraising document got filed, and then in September, first in principle approval was given. So if we see the entire, timeline here, it took a lot of time. Even after NSE SSC got approval, it took so much time. And somehow, the main reason was awareness that many of NPOs were not aware of social stock exchange, and even if they were aware, there were a lot of apprehensions that how it is going to do. And at the same time, there were certain reasons related to documentation as well, that what sort of documents are required. There were a lot of questions, and that is why probably it took a lot of time. So after September, in December, we got the first listing by SGBS Unnati Foundation. And then if we see that it's just been like 1 year, and we have almost 65 registrations and 8 listings. So these 8 listed NPOs have been able to uh, raise 11.3 CR. And after that, we have 5 more in pipeline. One has got in principle approval, and remaining 4 are under, review. And the last, if we see last 2 draft fundraising documents, they have actually submitted their proposal. One is for 7 CR and one is for 10 CR. So gradually, this funding amount is also like, fundraising amount is also like increasing. And it's increasing because initially most of the NPOs were just testing waters. There's so many NPOs, they are working on their draft fundraising document with bigger amounts. So it's picking up, it's evolving, and it's picking up. So now when we talk about the registration part, there are 3 key eligibility criteria to be registered on social stock exchange. So one is the social enterprise to have at least 67% of average revenue or expenditure or target population qualifying under 17 eligible areas. When you talk about 17 eligible areas, these are very much aligned to sustainable development goals and also based on the Schedule 7 of the Companies Act 2013. And priority areas identified by Niti Aayog. Then second is they should be a 3 years old organization and shall target unserved or less privileged population segment or regions recording lower performance in the development priorities of central or state government. So one thing is like, social intent is important. For profit enterprises and not for profit enterprises, both are there. However, for profit enterprises, this will be through SME route. It won't be through the social stock exchange main platform. There are few organizations which will be ineligible. They are corporate foundations. Again, however, if we talk about some foundation, and if they are able to attract more than 50% funding from outside, they will be eligible. Political or religious organizations or activities, professional or trade associations, infrastructure companies, and housing companies, these are ineligible. And these are the 17 activities across all the development areas which actually qualifies to be registered on social stock exchange. So should we go ahead or is there any question till now?
So once we'll complete the presentation and then we can have the questions.
Sure, done. Yeah. So this is basics about social stock exchange and what are their eligibility criteria. When we talk about just yeah, social enterprises. Yeah. So when we talk about social stock exchange enterprises and what is the process? So there is not-for-profit organization and for-profit organization. Right now, we will talk about not-for-profit organization. So this first, when they come for fundraising, so registration is very much essential. And for fundraising, and there are so many NPOs not required to. I mean, they are not going for fundraising, so they can come on the platform by just registering themselves and they may decide that they do not want to use this platform for fundraising because even after registration they are able to uh, uh, present to their donors saying that okay, so we are registered on social stock exchange. That is also helping them for due diligence thing. So for registration, only registration shall impose minimum annual reporting requirement, not beyond that. Then when we talk about listing, so listing will impose additional annual reporting requirement that we will talk about later. So right now for not-for-profit organizations, the ZCZP is one instrument which is very much live, which is called zero coupon, zero principle, means that if somebody is donating through a social stock exchange, there won't be any, it will be zero coupon and there won't be any return, zero principle, and it won't have any return. It will be solely a donation. Right now, mutual fund or any other instruments are not live, but highly likelihood that those will also be introduced in future. Then for-profit organization, there is no registration required, but it has to come via SME platform. So then once they come through the SME or mainboard platform, so it will be solely like, equity and AIF, social impact funding and all those things. So when we talk about the next one, just a thing. So this is the zero coupon, zero principle. Yeah. So when we talk about ZCZP, it's the issue to made only for a specific project or activity to be completed within a specified duration. It's just like you're designing one and you're designing a project and submitting to some donor. Here, that project one project will have one ZCZP for fundraising. If, say, for example, if they have to extend the project or come up with a second phase or come up with some different project, they will have to come back and they will have to like raise fund again, and that will be separate ZCZP instrument. So the specific project or activity to fall under the list of eligible activities, that is but obvious. issued without any coupon and no principal amount shall be payable on its maturity, issued only by an NPO registered on an SSC and shall have a specific tenure. Yeah, so for this, registration is mandatory. So in the nature of donation, not available for trading in secondary market. So it's not a tradable instrument. So these are basically the parameter indicators and different details when we talk about the regulatory requirement. So entity is legally registered as an NPO. So registration certification valid at least for next 12 months. So this registration will be valid for 12 months. However, if NPO is able to raise fund and is listed, so then registration renewal is not required, but it will go by the project tenure. Then ownership and control, governing document, trust deed, and all those things. So for all these things, we have uploaded different checklists on our website that you can go through. When we talk about the tax exemption under Income Tax Act, so right now, till now, ATG was not there, and then like CSR was not there because these are one of the most prominent questions being asked by different people that why ATG and CSR is not there. But ATG is highly likely to, I mean, it has been got introduced and most likely it is going to be announced very soon. And CSR is also like very much under discussion, most likely to be arriving in different formats for sure. So these are the things, and as we say, as we talked about, the eligibility age of the NPO should be like minimum 3 years, tax deduction under income tax, valid ATG registration under income tax, ensure registration declares whether tax deduction is available or not to investors. Yeah. So annual spending in the past financial year, so must be at least 50 lakhs, and the funding should be 10 lakhs. So these are based on minimum, eligibility criteria. When we talk about the timeline of registration, so we have done some internal analysis based on so many NPOs, applying for registrations, and till now we have got 65 registrations, but at the same time we have more than 80 NPOs in pipeline for registration. So when we talk about the average time taken by an NPO to be registered on NSE/SSC, it takes almost 45 to 60 days. So modes of issuance can be like, public issue and private placement. Till now, almost all the listings have happened through public issue. So then when we talk about this registration to fundraising, so for registration, like once one NPO is registered, then it will be valid for the period of 12 months. And then when they go for their fundraising, then they have to appoint their intermediaries at the RTAs and bankers and all those people. Then they prepare and filing of draft fundraising document happen. DFRD they submit to us, and that gets uploaded on our website, and which is open for public comment for 21 days. Then our team also, compliance team also shares their queries and they ask certain, I mean, if something is missing and if they have questions, then they keep on, sharing different queries and clarification letters. And once everything is satisfied, then they receive one in principle approval by NSD. And after that, that is valid for 180 days. So in 6 months, they can go and pitch to different funders and donors. And once they find that 75% they have been able to, you know, get some sort of like, assurance of funding. So I tell you that the minimum fund size for fundraising should be 50 lakh. Initially, it was 2 CR and it was 1 CR, sorry. And the minimum contribution was 2 lakh, but now it is 10,000 rupees only. So once they open the issue, then it gets open for 3 days, plus it can be extended to 10 days. They have to get at least 75% subscription, else all the money gets refunded to the donors. And so that is the minimum subscription that is mandatory. Then what happens that issue launch and closure, allotment and listing on NSE. So when we talk again about like the exchange has issued norms for issue and listing for ZCZP instrument, when we talk about the timeline here, then it's again like it takes 45 to 60 days after DFRD submission. So that is the average timeline. There are NPOs they have taken less time also. There are NPOs they have taken so much time. So this is the entire process and overview of that how fundraising document and application they get in principle approval. So issue opens for minimum 3 trading days, then issue closes maximum 10 trading days, can be extended up to 10 trading days. उसके बाद में basis of allotment stage one is done by RTA in consultation with the designated exchanges. When we talk about the manner of allocation among categories of investors, it is like oversubscription. So they have to select that whether they want to go to proportionate basis or like first come first. So then application for final listing approval stage two comes in place, and then verification of documents and listing approval by the exchange. Application date from 1 day, and then they go for the listing. So these are different norms that registration is valid for 1 year, fundraising to be done within this period or extension for registration renewal. Validity for in principle approval is 6 months, which is 180 days, and shelf document may be filed for project funding in tranches. And these are the prerequisites. So arrangement with depository for dematerialization of instruments, arrangement with registrars and transfer RTAs you have to place, then merchant banker not mandatory, uh, appointment of consultants or advisors if required. So one thing is very important here that though NSA does not recommend any consultant to be in place or NPO can do it, by themselves only. But this is again another observation where okay. So one observation is many NPOs they have been like uh, doing it for the first time, and somehow uh, they needed some hand holding. So in that way, many NPOs have taken the help of consultants also for their own capacity building. So in that case, we have been, informally suggesting them some consultant who have done it for several NPOs. Till now, out of 8 listings, there is only one NPO who have done it like, by themselves. But somehow when we talk about them, they have some bandwidth issue or some sort of like capacity issue where they may need some consultant. So in case like when they ask you that whether they need consultant, they first need to go through the documents like draft fundraising document. They have to do proper mapping that whether through their internal team, do they have bandwidth? Do they have capacity? If not, then it is advisable that they go by consultant and seek some help. Even if they talk to different consultants and not going by them, that also gives them a lot of like, knowledge about how to work on draft fundraising document and how to do it. So these are so then So these are basically different disclosures requirement for social enterprises. So annual disclosure is like, within 60 days from the end of financial year. This time it has been extended till 31st of October. These are quarterly disclosures. Second is like, a statement of utilization of the fund raised in case they are like, they have listed their project. Even best disclosure is also there, but I mean, it is as applicable, it is not mandatory. And policy for determination of materiality is to frame policy for determination of and disclose the same to social stock exchange. Annual impact report audited by a social audit firm employing social auditor to social stock exchange or stock exchanges. Time period and format to be specified by SEBI. So this has to come soon. So these are the recent regulatory changes where the main change was related to, minimum issue size, which was initially 1 CR. Now it's 50 lakhs. The minimum subscription is 75%. Minimum application size was also 2 lakhs. because initially it was focusing more on uh, HNIs and ultra HNIs, and now it's very much for individual retail investors. Now renaming social auditors, so social auditor, now they are known as social impact assessor, and similarly it's it's not social audit now, it's changed to social impact assessor assessment to provide comfort to NPOs. Then again, like permitting NPOs to disclose past social impact report in the fundraising document with some key parameters, and then permitting entities registered under Section 10, 23C and 1046 of the Income Tax Act 1961. So as NSE SSC, we have come up with some more initiatives because this is a platform, but at the same time, like NPOs have a lot of question when they go and look for donors. So they ask that from where to find donors and how to pitch your project so that donors will be impressed. So we are just not providing a platform, but beyond that, so mandate is to provide a platform, but beyond that, just to help NPOs, what we have also done is we have created one template after talking to all the stakeholders in the ecosystem, from donor to NPOs to impact assessors. We have created one pitch document that helps NPOs framing their project with all sorts of like theory of change and outcome indicators, and that help them how to design their project, and based on that they can also pitch to different donors. Similarly, we have recently, under the guidance of SEBI, we have been, doing certain awareness events. Until now, we have done two grand events. So the first one was on 7th of May in Bangalore, where more than 150 NPOs attended there. And it's just not about talking about socialist talk change, but also giving them sort of like practical aspects and what new knowledge things are coming up. So say for example, we just not talk did not talk about socialist stock exchange and its framework, but also talked about how collaboration works, how participation is important, entire ecosystem is important, invited experts and people to talk about it. Similarly, we also talked about outcome-based funding, and outcome-based funding also help NGOs to channelize funds to socialist stock exchange. And we also talked about the impact, because that is equally important to showcase how well the project is working. And the event was on last Friday only. It is in Delhi, and it was organized in Mandap. There we were able to attract more than 300 POs. And similar on similar line, like we talked about all those things with new experts, so people from different social impact funding domain, from different donors like
Sir, your voice is not there, not audible. It's
uh,
yes,
hello.
now it's yes.
Yeah. So something was there. Yeah. So this is how it is happening. And in addition to that, I tell you that whatever is happening when NPO is going for fundraising and they are facing any sort of issue, we are here to give them real time troubleshooting. Uh, Recently, we have also launched EIPO through ASBA facilities to help NPOs when they are going for collecting retail contribution or donation. Then EIPO is very much live on our platform. So that's one thing. Just several cases where like one of our donors
So voice is not coming. It's not audible.
now
It's
now
fine. Yes. No.
is better. Yeah,
Yes.
so there's several instances and cases where, like, even when one NPO has opened their issue and they're facing some challenges, like there were some donors and and they said that they do not have demat account, but they want to contribute to this project. That time we contacted Zerodha, and Zerodha said that we are going to open their demat account in just 10 minutes. So I believe that the entire ecosystem is very much helping and very much helpful. And this is how, like, this is a good news for social stock exchange. And in last 1 year, it's evolving only day by day. New things are coming up now. ATG is most likely, it's going to be announced. I mean, it has come, but it's yet to be announced, and then CSR might come. So one by one, even SEBI and with its committees and the councils, they have been, like, taking all the proactive steps to help NPOs. So this is all about social stock exchange and overview. So if there are any questions, I'm ready to take them.
Yes, sir.
So
There
I
are
think
certain
I'm on time, right?
right, sir. There are
Yeah.
certain questions related to this section of the webinar. So, first
Hmm.
question is, can you explain why investor or donor will invest in SSC listed NGO?
Hmm.
Whether ATG, is there any exemption for ATG or CSR? So I think this question you've already answered, that ATG is there
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's about to be announced. And same the
Correct,
case
correct.
for the CSR.
See, one more thing here is like related to this question. It's just not about ATG or CSR. There are so many funders. They may be waiting for ATG and CSR, but still there are so many donors. For them, ATG and CSR are not their concern. The biggest concern is trust on the NPO, because there's so many people, they believe in certain certain causes. They want to support them, but the moment they go and search for the right NPO, they see that there are more than 30 lakhs NGOs, right? And there are more than 2 lakhs on Darpan. And when they go and do due diligence, they do not know how to do that due diligence. And even they are going through that, there's so many, like, that is not as robust as social stock exchange has, right? So the moment some NGO NPO is registered on SSC, and they actually go to different donors, ask for this, I mean, their trust and credibility is so high that donor will not, I mean, will be take them very seriously. And ATG and CSR are very much likely to, be announced. Yeah.
So another question is, in the eligibility criteria, it's mentioned that minimum funding should be 10 lakh. Does it mean that
Hmm.
donations or receipt be minimum 10 lakh? Can't a
Yeah.
company from its own expend and list of social exchange?
Sorry, come again. Second part I didn't get.
Eligibility criteria, it's mentioned that minimum funding should be 10 lakh. Does it mean that
Hmm.
donations or receipt should be minimum 10 lakh rupees?
Yeah, it's 10 lakhs rupees only. So see, 50 is like, you have delivered a project of 50 lakh, and you have got minimum funding or donation of 10 lakh. So it is given, and it also says that if you have, like, business from, or maybe project from previous year, it means that, your NPO is very much live and active. Yeah, so donation or funding, it's all like, similar thing. So that these are like basic criteria, and thankfully there are hardly like 1 in 200 NPOs, I would say, are not eligible when it comes to this eligibility criteria. It's minimum. Yeah.
Another question is, since the zero coupon, zero principal bonds are not traded, why is
Hmm.
dematerialization required?
It's because of exchange, because whatever happens here, when we talk about, SME or IPO, it all comes to demat account. So that's how it is, like, it's on the same path, and that is why demat is required.
Another question is, a company will register itself for raising the funds, donations in form, and then spend that fund on the listed areas. Is that the concept of social stock exchange?
Oh, listed areas, yeah. So if listed activities, if we say, these 17 areas almost cover everything into of development, overall, like, this is very much aligned with the social development, sustainable development goals. So they cover almost everything.
Sir, as of now, we have these many questions only pertaining to this section.
Perfect.
So now
And
we are
in case, like, you can share my email ID in case they have any separate question, because we had paucity of time. So even I was like not sure that I'll be able to complete in 25-30 minutes. And that is why I did a kind of like fast track things, and I wanted to cover some new things that is happening, and where they can also share with NPOs, most important thing. And these things can, I mean, anybody can go on the website and they can read through, but how NSE is helping NPOs, that part was very important to cover. And that is why I skipped few slides and covered those things, so that everybody will be aware of all those things. And anybody can write to me anytime. You can just share my email ID with them, and I will love to respond to their questions or any help they need after this. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
second session in the webinar, we have with us Dr. Nitin TK. He's going to deliberate on the topic social impact assessor, certification and examination. Sir, over to you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this webinar, all participants, and thank you ICSI for giving opportunity to NISM to participate in this webinar. I'll share my presentation here.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, visible. Yeah.
Yes.
And is my voice audible properly?
Yes, sir, it's properly audible.
Yeah, good. Thank you. As just now Mr. Kaushal Kumar has given a brief about social stock exchange, development of social stock exchange. There will be little repetition in what I'm saying. Is that in Union Budget 1920, a proposal to create social stock exchange under the ambit of SEBI was mooted, and SEBI took next actions and formed the working group, and we have reached today to have several companies, several organizations, NPOs listed on BSE and NSE on their social stock exchange platforms. Now there are social stock exchanges in other economies in the world, but most of the cases, the experiment of social stock exchange has failed in other countries. There are 2 or 3 other functional social stock exchanges, but they are not like what is there in India. So what is the difference in social stock exchange in India and social stock exchanges in other countries? That is, there is something called social impact assessor is a mandatory stakeholder in social stock exchange system in India. Now, earlier this name was social auditor. That is somebody to assess the impact of the funds that are given to an organization, and what is the impact, what activities are carried out, what is the output, what is the outcome, what is the impact. All this somebody has to assess, and that entity is called social impact assessor. Now this entity is present in India. This is because of the SEBI's framework. The same entity is not present in other economies or other jurisdictions, and that is why it is assumed that the experiment of social stock exchanges have failed there. Now we have who can become a social impact assessor. Now there are, earlier it was only chartered accountants or company secretaries and cost accountants. They were thought of being eligible to be social impact assessor. Now SEBI had said that anybody who is supposed to be a social impact assessor has to pass NISM certification examination related to social impact assessment. Over and above that, one has to be either chartered accountant or a company secretary or a cost and management accountant or one has to be postgraduate with 3 years experience in development work, or a graduate with 6 years experience in development work, or any other person with suitable kind of accreditation or suitable kind of experience can become a social impact assessor. Now, most of the people who are taking social impact assessors examination, they are coming from chartered accountancy, company secretary, or CMA kind of background. There are few people who are coming from the development sector background also, but most of the people are coming from these professional backgrounds. After a candidate passes social impact assessor's examination, he or she has to undergo training at an SRO. There are different SROs which are approved by SEBI. These are floated by Institute of Company Secretaries, Institute of Chartered Accountants, or Cost Accountants Institute. So they can further do training which will have a practical aspect of social impact assessment. Now, I will talk about NISM's Social Impact Assessor Certificate examination. NISM has different certification examinations which are related to securities market. There are 22 mandatory examinations and 8 non-mandatory examinations that NISM conducts all over the country around the year at more than 250 centers across the country. Now, this particular exam is also conducted across the country, and it is available at very nominal cost. Now, the purpose of this exam is to create pool of social impact assessor. Now, just now I talked about chartered accountants or cost accountants or company secretaries or other people who are becoming, want to become social impact assessors. Now, social impact assessor would be a professional. Professional meaning somebody who has adequate training in that area, he has attained certain qualification, and who followed certain code of conduct. Now, the idea is to create pool of such social impact assessors, as more and more organizations will get listed or will come for registration and listing on both our exchanges. So the objective is to create this pool, and on successful completion of the examination, candidate would understand the basic of social auditing, impact assessment, code of conduct, different techniques of social impact assessment, this framework for social impact assessment, understand the general concepts related to social stock exchange, how to do impact reporting, and all those things are covered in NISM certification examination. So basic details are all covered. Theoretical and practical aspects are also covered about the social impact assessment, and it is essential for enhancing the social impact assessment knowledge, skills, competencies, etc. Because this is relatively new field. Most of you, I presume, are here company secretaries. They know their area of what they have learned in during their training, but this social impact assessment is slightly different ball game. It is not like financial accounting or financial auditing. No, the social impact assessment has no different aspects, and those need to be understood. As professionals, you will definitely understand, but one has to undergo proper certification examinations which will give credibility, and after that training with an SRO. Now, like most of NISM's examinations, this examination is for 100 marks. It is exam conducted at test centers on computers. It is internet-based exam. There are multiple choice questions, 85 multiple choice questions, and there are 3 5 marks caselets in the examination. So total 100 marks exam. It is to be completed in 2 hours. The passing marks are 60% passing is there, and there is also negative marking for this examination. That is, suppose one answer for every incorrect answer, there will be 25% negative marks for that answer. This is standard for almost all NISM certification examinations and most of the professional examinations. Now, what is that is covered in this examination, in this course? So we cover here the social sector in economy, what are SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, what are different methodologies of social intervention, social sector landscape in India. Then, as these organizations are getting listed on stock exchanges and their instruments like ZCZP will be traded or at least will be issued by the issuer to the donors or the funders, one has to understand what is there, what is our financial market. So something about stock exchange, something about listing, something about trading mechanism, clearing and risk management, all these aspects are also covered in this workbook. Now, the structure of social stock exchange, funding structures, what are different instruments apart from ZCZP, all these are covered in this workbook. Also, just now, Mr. Kaushal Kumar talked about registration and listing on social stock exchange. That is also in detail covered in this the examination course. Further, the most important aspect is that social impact assessment and social impact assessors. Now, as I told you that social impact assessment is the key differentiator between Indian social stock exchange scenario and social stock exchange across the country. So a social impact assessment carries a lot of importance and social impact assessor's role becomes very important. So what is the process of social impact assessment? How to analyze the project, how to identify who are the important stakeholder, how to consult the stakeholder, how to analyze data, how to find out different kinds of qualitative, quantitative impact, financial impact. All these things are covered in this chapter. There are different tools and techniques of social impact assessment, like logic model is there. Then there is theory of change is there. There are Avishkar model is there. So different models are there, and all this information and adequate knowledge is given about these models in the chapter on social impact assessment framework, techniques, and standards. There has to be standardization across impact assessment reports, because what is most critical is the credibility of an organization which is getting listed, which is getting registered and listed on social stock exchange, because based on that only the funders or lenders, they are going to invest or they are going to give money. So the credibility, to bring in the credibility, social impact assessment in a scientific manner is very important. That's why there is so much of importance given to social impact assessment in Indian scenario. The cycle of social impact assessment is, setting the objectives of impact assessment. Find out who are different stakeholders. What are, the funders are one stakeholder. The eligible group beneficiaries are another stakeholder. Then there are other supporting organizations are another stakeholder. Different stakeholders are there. What is their role? What are the relevant parameters for social impact assessment? These are covered in social impact assessment chapter on social impact assessment. There are different models of evaluation of impact assessment. Like some models, in some models everything is outsourced. In some models, there are partner organization who will do the impact assessment along with the agency who is the main impact assessor. In some cases, it is integrated model. In some cases, you yourself do everything. So different impact assessment models are discussed here. Most important thing is that in this workbook, since many professionals will be coming from financial field, that is what it appears, because chartered accountants, company secretaries, cost and management accountants are basically taking this examination and coming trying to become social impact assessors. Now, these people are definitely professionals, but social impact assessment will be a different ball game for them, and that is why this workbook covers 5 different case studies on different SDGs. For example, there is a case study on environmental sustainability. This case study is about water shortage in Ratnagiri and Raigad district of Konkan, and how a project was conceived and implemented there, and how the social impact assessment was done there. So there are case studies on different sectors. There is a case study on you know uh, healthcare, sanitation, and making safe drinking water available to certain underprivileged population. There is case study on gender equality, so how to include women and people from LGBTQI community, and how to assess such different kinds of programs. Now, impact assessment methods for rainwater harvesting or sustainability program, environmental sustainability program will be different. Similarly, the impact assessment methods for a healthcare or sanitation project will be different. So it will be much different for gender equality program. Now we have included this case studies here. Also, we have included a case study on financial inclusion. What had happened post demonetization? There are many people, especially people who are, earning small amounts, small monies. They were impacted in a great manner. So, how to include them? How to uh, get them in financial mainstream, so that is financial inclusion. That kind of project was conceived in MP, and uh, how to do impact assessment for such project, that case study is given here. Now in that project, there were some simple things like how to open a bank account, how to avail a loan, how to buy an insurance policy, how to use ATM, how to use Bheem or other UPIs, you know uh, that is getting all these people who are marginalized in the mainstream of finance or investment, what we call as financial inclusion. So a case study is there. Now these case studies are, we feel that this will be very helpful in people who are trying to be social impact assessors. So there is also a case study on affordable housing. Now, generally, housing finance companies or CSR projects of corporate foundations, they are not eligible for uh, registration and listing on stock exchanges, but there is an exception to affordable housing finance companies. So there is also an impact assessment case study on a project that was carried out in Mumbai, which benefited more than 1,300 entities. They were provided houses. How the impact was made on their lives. Now, dear participants, impact assessment can be very, can go very deep. For example, I will give an example. Let's say some lender or some fund, some donor has given some money for building, a school in certain, area where mostly underprivileged people stay. Now, because of the school, what impact has that school made in that area? One has to go quite deep. For example, if because of the school, the children from the slums, they go into school and they take education up to maybe fifth standard or 10th standard, then it is a simple output that a school is built based on because of donation from some entity, and some students have passed fifth standard, some students have passed 10th standard, but this is simple output. Now what has happened, what is the outcome, is that because of a student passes 10th standard, does it mean that after that he gets a job, he starts the family starts getting regular income, family gets respectability, a girl child in the household also starts going to school? These are different impacts. The hygiene of the family starts becoming better and better. The the food intake, better food, is consumed by the family. All this impact can go much, much deeper. And it is not simple that, as simple as that somebody has lent 10 lakhs rupees, somebody has lent 50 or donated 50 lakhs rupees, and 100 students have passed out of that school. No, it is a simple output, but the impact can be much, much, much deeper. And that's why this job is to be carried out by trained professionals. And that's why, these case studies are given to help you understand what are different techniques and how impact assessment is carried out. Now there are disclosure norms, reporting requirements for social, like any audit report, there are norms are there, reporting requirements are there. So for this also there are reporting norms are there, disclosure norms are there. Taxation about the securities market, that also is covered here, and key regulations like SCRA, SEBI Act, Depositories Act. Because just now Mr. Kaushal Kumar talked about some lender, some donor wanted to donate, but he did not have demat account. So it is good to have understanding of Depository Act, SEBI stockbrokers regulation, and other relevant regulations also. It is important because these instruments are going to get listed on social stock exchange. Now, certification course for social impact assessor doesn't end here. After this examination, the candidates also have to undergo training, which is conducted by different SROs. I think one of the SROs is also promoted by ICSI. So there are practical aspects of social impact assessment are taken care of in this training program. These are delivered by SROs. One has to mandatorily attend, and after that only one can get registered as social impact assessor. I think this is all I wanted to cover. Also, candidate interested in acquiring, knowing more about social stock exchange platform and social impact assessment can also take up this examination. It is not necessary that only people who want to become social impact assessors, they only should take this exam. NISM's exams are open for anyone. There is no age restriction. There is no educational qualification restrictions. Anybody can take. Whoever has interest in development sector, social sector, can take up and can enhance his or her understanding, and also maybe can also attend the training program which are conducted by the SROs. So this is what I had in my mind to share with you, and I hope I have consumed my time.
Yes, and the topic is explained very well. We have certain questions related to this section. So shall we take?
Yeah.
So first question we have is, how many days training required after passing the exam, whether it's online or offline?
So see, NISM's exams are self-study exams. So when you register and enroll for with NISM, you can download a free book, or even without enrolling for examination from NISM website, you can download the workbook for social impact assessors and you can read. And once you think that you are ready for appearing for examination, you can enroll for the examination. Now, this is a small workbook, maybe of around 250 pages. For professionals like you, it won't be very difficult. One can study, maybe depending on time available with you, maybe in a week or maybe in 15 days. So I don't think it will be very difficult thing for, reading, understanding and passing the examination. For professionals, it won't be a challenging task.
Sir, the question is like training required after passing the exam. So how many days training is required after passing the exam by NISM?
After that, different SROs, they are giving training for different durations. Maybe Institute of Chartered Accountants, they have floated an SRO. ICSI, they have different training modules. And they have, during training, they also have, some training visits also, visit for the site visits or visits to the those NPOs, who are doing this work in different areas. So maybe the the duration changes from SRO to SRO.
Sir, any guidance note on impact assessment been published by NISM?
Hello, can you repeat, please, ma'am?
Any guidance note on impact assessment published by NISM?
Any guidance note?
Yes. Is
Uh,
has NISM issued any kind of guidance note on impact assessment?
no, there is no separate guidance note as such.
Okay. Next question we have is, whoever passed the social stock exchange exam, is it for the lifetime or some duration is there?
They can you please repeat, ma'am? Question, please.
Whoever passed the social stock exchange exam, this NISM exam, is it for the lifetime or some duration is attached to it?
I think there is some problem in my internet connection. Can you put it in chat, ma'am? I'll answer that.
Yes, sir. I'll put it in chat for you. Just a
Yeah,
second.
please.
Yes, sir. I've posted the question in the chat box.
I'll just. If exam passed, is it for lifetime or for some period? Now, the certificate is for valid for 3 years. Because there are changes in in the regulation, ICDR. There are changes in ICDR, and this is a pretty new concept, and there are likely to be some changes. So the certificates, like all other NISM certificates, these are valid for 3 years, and after that, one has to appear for examination.
Sir, how much is the fee to register as an assessor?
Yeah, ma'am, can you put it in chat, please? Because the voice is breaking. Fee to register as assessor. Fee to register for examination is 1,500 rupees. ₹1,500 nominal fee. Not as of now. Maybe if there is some suggestion from a regulator, NISM can consider that.
So, sir, as of now, we have these many questions only pertaining to this section. And now we have the third part of the webinar, which is by Dr. Ajay Garg, and he's going to deliberate on the topic social impact assessment. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Surviji. Program going well, and my two predecessors have helped me. And now I will share the screen for this social impact assessment and EEE 4.0 Master Knowledge Series. You have already introduced me. No need for repeat introduction. But I am author for 6 books, as you rightly captured that social entrepreneur. Yes, I am social entrepreneur because I take care of the youngster who are entering into business on Startup India portal. And then I am the founder secretary general for Global Confederation of NGOs also, which is not mentioned here. And there we handhold the one-man NGOs, because as the figure was told by the first speaker, 30 lakh NGOs, then you will find that 28 lakh are one-man NGOs. And those one-man NGOs, they just want to do the work, but paperwork they don't know. So then we help them as Global Confederation of NGOs, we help them there. Anyway, see this story I have specially selected for today's session, King of Udupi and Lord Krishna. And see the connection that King of Udupi, in the changed circumstances, because he did not want to take the side either of the Kauravas or of Pandavas, then on suggestion of Lord Krishna, he became the cook. The king becoming the cook for the duration of Mahabharat war. And then getting blessed by Lord Krishna, none other than Lord Krishna, that whosoever will do the cooking business in your generations to come will be highly successful and there will be no wastage. If a king can become cook, the professionals can also become social impact assessor. Professional, they earn more, professional responsibility is more, social impact assessor responsibility is more, but earning wise this may be less. But as the king of Udupi adopted the role of the cook, and later on his generations even today are enjoying this cooking business. So similarly, this social impact assessment is something very different from what as a professional we are doing. As a professional, we are doing a lot of activities, attending with the corporate honchos and other things. But here, the things will be different. Anyway, the topic which you have allotted to me, I will go for that topic and I will go in the way of the frequently asked questions. As luckily my two predecessors have not told what is social impact assessment, so then I'm taking this question, what is social impact assessment first of all? So basically this is assessment of the impact of activities. The activities may be very different. Some of the NGOs might be doing the educational activities. Certainly their impact assessment will be different from the NGOs who are doing the environmental activities. Similarly, the NGOs who are working for women empowerment or the NGOs who are working for the slum area, the scorecard, the assessment, everything will be different for them. And here we cover both two types of assessment. One is qualitative, another one is quantitative. For example, say educational activity skill course assessment is to be taken up and 400 students entered into there in particular year. Now out of 400, how many dropped out? Quantitative assessment. What was the outcome, whether their level of knowledge increased, whether they got the job? That is qualitative assessment. So that way what happens, that social impact assessment covers both qualitative as well as quantitative, but it excludes monetary terms because monetary terms are covered under financial audit. Because monetary terms are covered under financial audit, therefore when we prepare the social impact assessment, we don't cover the monetary items, but we cover the activities, performance, output, gaps, and we also suggest sometimes the improvements which are required. Now, as you have told that more than 10,000 participants have joined today's program, so then I have taken it whether this social impact assessment is mandatory. Yes, it is mandatory. SEBI Loader Regulation Chapter 9A Regulation 91E makes it mandatory. And is it mandatory only for non-profit organization? No. It is mandatory for every registered social enterprise. Registered here does not mean the registration with the registrar of society or registrar of trust. But here registration means whichever is registered on social stock exchange. Social stock exchange have two concepts. One concept is registration. Another concept is raising of funds. That means listing. But this listing is very interesting. As one of the participants asked, zero coupon, zero principal, that no money refund you will get, no income you will get. Why anyone will be interested? Boss, because our generations, they have donated without thinking of anything in return, just for the karmic balance. And India if you visit any city, any part of the city, you will find lot of dharamshalas, you will find lot of charity work, charitable work going on. Lot of plantation will happen in the month of July. One Mahotsav, around one Mahotsav. Then when you are planting a tree, you are not expecting any return for that. And same thing is happening over here, that here also every registered social enterprise, they have to go for the social impact assessment, which is mandatory for them. And ICDR defines that who can be appointed as a auditor. This is something very interesting, that individual social impact assessor who has passed the exam cannot be appointed as social auditor, means social impact assessor. Social impact assessor can only be a firm. Now, there may be a question in the mind of a person who has just joined this session on social impact for the first time, that if I am individually not eligible to be appointed as social impact assessor, why? But there is a reason, that a simple statutory audit or even secretarial audit can be handled individually by any individual. But social impact assessment has so much dimensions that without a team, you cannot handle it. The dimensions are diverse. Because of the diverse dimensions, an individual cannot handle it without a team. But it is not necessary that team should be permanent with you. And when I passed out this exam last year, then at that time, in 2023 only, we formed a firm, because only firm is eligible to be appointed as a social auditor. But who will carry out the social audit? Social audit will be carried out by the social impact assessor, or say, because auditor word has now changed to impact assessor, and that is perfect, because the moment you call auditor, then the vibrations are not good. But here social impact assessor, the moment you say social impact assessor, so then vibrations are very positive, that the person is not only to find the fault, but the person is here to understand what you have done, to find the gaps and also guide you, so that in future you can work better. I am talking in reference to what NGO or NPO, non-profit organization, because NGO word is a misnomer. The perfect word is NPO, non-profit organizations. So this is the difference, that who can be appointed as social impact assessor. Only a firm can be appointed as social impact assessor. Now, who needs social impact assessment? First of all, every registered social enterprise. Registered here means the social enterprise which is registered with Social Stock Exchange. What is the frequency of SIA? As of now, this frequency is annual. But I am sure, as the Kaushal Kumarji was talking, that now NPOs are becoming ambitious, and then the two pending NPOs are aspiring to raise 7 crores and 10 crores. Then in times to come, what will happen, that this social impact assessment study, which is to be carried out on the annual impact report, may become half-yearly activity. This is possible. This can happen. If this cannot be there, then maybe there will be the need of limited SIA, so that the monitoring will not happen after 1 year, but monitoring will happen on more frequent basis. And who needs SIA? SIA, we do SIA of annual impact report. That means there is a combination of two documents. As it happens that balance sheet and annual financial statements are prepared, and then comes the auditor report. Similarly here, annual impact report is the base document, and social impact assessment report is the outcome of what is mentioned on that AIR. That means that is diagnostic report of AIR. As the auditor report is diagnostic report of the balance sheet and other annual financial statements, similarly the SIA report is diagnostic report of annual impact report. Means the document which is to be assessed is annual impact report of every registered social enterprise. But as as it was disclosed by the first speaker of the day, that the every registered social enterprise, unless it renews its registration is going to expire in 1 year. Now, what is going to happen, because this journey has just started from last year? Therefore, what is going to happen, that out of these 65, there is a possibility that 30 to 40% of the NPOs will not renew their registration. The NPOs who were expecting that raising funds will be a cakewalk, they are realizing that raising funds is not a cakewalk. It takes time. It takes many other things in addition to the time. And there is a possibility that renewal by 30 to 40% of the NPOs is not going to happen. But remaining NPOs, they have to prepare this annual impact report. And this is the first year when annual impact report will be submitted. And my co-speaker Kaushal Kumarji will be telling whether these annual impact report will be available in public domain. As we get on main board and on NSE Emerge, we get the documents of the companies in the public domain. Now the question comes whether the annual impact report and SIA report of the registered social enterprises, will they be in public domain? So then
Yes, sir. It will be in the public domain, sir.
Yeah. And last date for this year is 30th June. Last date.
So it has been extended till 30th of October now.
Now it has been extended because earlier when SEBI planned it, then at that time the social framework said that within 3 months the annual impact report shall be submitted. And the same regulation said that annual impact report is to be supported by the SIA report also. And just now, as validated by Kaushal Kumarji, that now this date has been extended. That means now this will be submitted in the period of 7 months, because this is the first year for annual impact report as well as for social impact report. And most of the registered social enterprises are nervous about this document, because earlier occasions they did not prepare it, frankly speaking, that they did not prepare it on earlier occasion. And when they started the project, the data they have not collected methodically. Therefore, they are nervous about this document. And this nervousness about this document itself may be one of the reasons why 30 to 40% of the NPOs who have registered may not renew their registration on BSc and SSC as well as on NSC SSC. Anyway, let us see what happens. And this is okay, this is covered. And now social impact assessor needs a team, because it is time consuming process. You cannot prepare social impact assessment report while sitting in your office, because you cannot prepare the document while sitting in your office. You need to do desktop, you need to interact with the various stakeholders, you need to interact with the compliance officer of the NPO, you need to interact with various project officers and the field staff of the NPO, then you need to interact with the beneficiaries also, then you need to develop the questionnaire, then you need to get the feedback on questionnaire, then so many things. Means no team, no deliverance. How I call it? I call it no team, no deliverance. If you are only social impact assessor without a team, or then what will happen, that deliverance, even if deliverance is there, that will be of very poor quality. Full time, but as far as team is concerned, the team can be full time or team can be on assignment to assignment basis. Because see, suppose you get an assignment where you need to assess one of the NPO, which is in the segment of skill training. Now, where from you can develop a team on assignment to assignment basis, you can draw someone else from another skill NPO, an expert, and then you need some field an enumerator also who can collect the data as your representative. Unless you do it, then there will be a challenge and poor quality document will be there, which I will never advise. Now, question comes, where is the format? Is there any format? See, now, first of all, let us talk about annual impact report. Annual impact report, the guidance note is available for annual impact report, and the framework for social stock exchange, which is dated September 19, 2022, issued by SEBI, that has this guidance note which talks about what should be there in the annual impact report. Because see, as told by Kaushal Kumar ji and then further by Nitin ji, that there are 17 activities, and these activities are drawn from sustainable development goals, which are developed by one of the international organization, and these sustainable development goals 16 further followed by any other 16 plus 1 makes it to 17, and annual impact report for all 17 cannot be same. That is the reason that even AIR does not have single format, and the AIR format will also vary on activity to activity basis. Single format practically not possible. That is the reason that even SEBI has not prescribed any format, but it has prescribed the contents. What should be the minimum contents on AIR? And then SIA report. SIA report on annual impact report, as a social impact assessor, we need to issue SIA report, and single format. If this single format is not possible for annual impact report, then this is also not possible for social impact assessment report. And on activity to activity basis, some of the things will change in AIR as well as in SIA. And Kaushal Kumar ji is here, and if anything which is the development, I may not be aware, but because he is in National Stock Exchange SSE, he may be aware. So then I invite his comments in between, if anything which I am missing or any update which I am missing.
So
And-
formats are under discussion and review and soon to be shared.
Yeah, so as of now, formats are not available.
Yeah, it is not,
There
but
is
it
a-
is very much under discussion, and
Yes.
soon we are going to see the template as well.
Yes, and contents are available. Contents were 2 years back on September 19, 2022, when framework for SSE was there. In that framework, as annexer, that AIR contents were mentioned exhaustively in annexer. And even if you go by those contents only, then was for any social impact assessor who is aspiring to do the social impact assessment report, the report is going to take time. Can I do justice for all activities? Now, some youngsters, see, Kaushalji, I passed out in the first month when this course was introduced by NIS. And some youngsters who followed me, they used to ask, can I work in all the 17 activities? The answer is very clear. Even if you are superhuman, you cannot work for all the 17 activities. This is not possible at all. As a social impact assessor, my advice to the new entrants in the profession is that focus on 1, 2, or maximum 3 activities. And when you focus on maximum 3 activities out of 17, only then the excellence and world-class reports will come, otherwise not. And what is the solution if you want to do more than 3? Cooperate and collaborate. Because you need to have the experts of that particular activity. If you don't have experts of that particular activity, you may fail to understand, you may fail to develop the scorecard, you may fail to do the justice to your assignment. Now, this question I am repeating, who can be engaged as social impact assessor? As far as the documented regulations are concerned, only a SIA firm can be assessor. individual social impact assessor cannot be appointed, cannot be engaged as SIA, not eligible. And scope of violation very high, because NPOs are not also not aware about this effect, and in enthusiasm, many new entrants into the profession of social impact assessment are likely to accept the assignment in individual name. But therefore, I say that scope of violation in the first year is going to be very high, more than 50% in this particular case of engagement of the social impact assessment. Now, what happened that some of the new entrants who passed after me, means after January 2023, they asked, what shall I read after passing the exam? As just now Nitinji was focusing, that first portion is when you become the student, then you are in the safe hands of NISM, where one of the participant asked about that whether there is any guidance note. Then answer is, as far as passing the exam, the book is wonderful book has been developed by NISM. And this wonderful backgrounder helps you to pass the exam, and this is one of the best book which I have read. My comment here is that 85% of the syllabus, even if you are company secretary, even if you are company secretary plus chartered accountant, even if you are CS, CA and CMA, all three degrees, still 85% of the syllabus you have never read. Because you have never read 85% of the syllabus, therefore this NISM book comes handy to you, and this NISM books will help you. If you go through the book twice, then this shall be suffice to score 60% of the marks. But the question is, as Nitinji told, that once you pass the exam, then the training. And training, when I passed out, there was 0-hour training by Institute of Social Auditors of India, because even the person at the top did not have the idea. That is the reason why there was no training. But training is about to happen now, because this is the first time in 24-25, as Kaushal Kumarji said, that now date has been extended to 31st October or 30th September. So then what is going to happen? That this year the social impact assessment reports will be there. And once social impact assessment reports will be there, then on the basis of that, the trainings will be organized. And then before issuing the practice certificate, the SROs, self-regulatory organizations, who are working under the umbrella of the super regulator SEBI, and all the SROs are to be registered with the SEBI. And earlier there was only one SRO, that means monopoly. Now that monopoly is not there, and now there are three SROs. Recognized by SEBI, because three SROs are recognized by SEBI, so then this will infuse the competition amongst them, and the competition is going to result into the better trainings. And even today's session, I treat this today's session as precursor to the formal trainings which will be announced by ICSI ISA, Institute of Social Auditors. And very well, when new entrants used to come, and they used to ask this question, what shall I read after passing the exam? I said, now read the ICDR again, chapter 10A, because chapter 10A is the new chapter which has been added over there. I used to tell them that, yes, you need to read SEBI loader regulation again, that is chapter 9A. Then I said that you read framework for SSC September 19, 2022, along with not only this framework, but along with the further amendments in the framework. Then visit BSc SSC and NSC SSC portals, because when you visit the portal, you get the idea. You get many documents which are in public domain, and you can develop the capacities. The first cadre for any new profession, this is the youngest profession in India, this social impact assessor. The social audits started in India, Kaushalji, in 1993 with the amendment in the constitution, where Gram Panchayats were empowered that for any project which is to be done by the Gram Panchayat, the Gram Sabha can appoint the social auditor. That was the first time when this social audit started in India. But till now, nobody thought that professional cadre is required. Salute to SEBI that SEBI would think of that, yes, social impact assessor, social auditor, which was the earlier name. SEBI could think of that, yes, there is need of the professional cadre. And I am sure that not only CSR, not only this, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, but this social impact assessors are going to hit various other ministries also. For example, Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change. That EIA always have one important essential part in the name of SIA. EIA means Environment Impact Assessment Study is always supported by Social Impact Assessment Study, because resettlement, replacement, and lot many issues are there when the plants are being cut for the red category or other big size projects. And SIA, this SIA assessment report there, because there it is a matter of crores of rupees. So then this is going to happen over there also. And then green credits, which has been started in 2023 only by Government of India, again by Ministry of Environment and Forest. There they have the verifying agency who can be the more competent to verify the green credits than the social impact assessor. So this is going to various ministries, maybe even Ministry of Rural Development, maybe even Ministry of the various Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. This is going to happen. Then I always suggested that also go for FAQ, which has been issued by SEBI. Then framework for SIA standard. These SIA standards have been issued by ICSI, ISA also. Social Impact Assessment Standard. Earlier name was Social Audit Standards. Now this new name is to be adopted, and ISAI, Institute of Social Auditors, then CMA Institute, all three have issued the standards. But you need to follow, as a qualified person, you need to follow the standards which are prescribed by the SRO to whom you belong to. Formats for SIA report. Formats, because some of the social impact assessment reports are already available, even if say it is new journey for the NPOs, but it is not the new journey for India. Tata is doing it till CSR started. Earlier, big short companies, Infosys also doing it, Adani, and then that Vedanta. They are also doing this social impact assessment report for their CSR projects. Then you get the idea when you see those reports, and when you glance through as a professional through those reports, then you get the better idea. And I also suggested that go for 3 quality annual impact report. If annual impact report are not there, then annual CSR reports are there. They also give you the eye view that how this, because see, Kaushalji, the what happens that this AIR, most of the NPOs are failing to develop the annual impact report. They are failing to understand. And what is happening? They are hiring the social impact assessors to develop this annual impact report, and they are hiring another social impact assessor to do the audit of this annual impact report. Then 3 scorecards. As a social impact assessor, qualified social impact assessor, my advice to all the participants today that if you have already passed the exam, then go through the 3 scorecards of 3 various activities of your interest. Then you will get the idea how this assessment scorecard can be developed. And FAQs issued by SRO, self-regulatory organization. Suppose you are member of ISA, Institute of Social Auditor, then if any FAQ is available over there, then go through this FAQ which has been issued by SRO. This will give you the idea. Many new entrant ask this question: will I make good money as SIA? My answer is simple: unlikely. If you are after money, then this social impact assessment is not for you. Cross and move in different direction, because there may be less money, but this less money will be further supported by more karmic balance. If you are in the age bracket where your appetite for money is at least satiated to the extent of 51%, then only this profession of SIA is for you, because it gives you, along with money, it gives you the karmic balance also. If you are thinking that you will make here tons of money, then boss, I will say that yes, this is not the fact. You will earn the money, no issue. NPOs, rather, my experience of working with the NPOs, I shall tell you that NPOs are good pay master. And once they commit, they will pay you money. The failure may be on the corporates. Many corporates, they don't pay to the professionals, but the NPOs, they will always pay once whatever they commit. But that commitment, because they are working, as just one of you asked about ZCZP, why I shall subscribe to ZCZP. Similarly, they may not be able to pay the money, fat money, but they will pay you the money. But this money, when you will work with them, your personality will also transform. When you will work with the NPOs, your personality will also transform, and then you will realize that at least one ZCZP, because now the minimum subscription is 10,000 rupees, you would also like to subscribe to one ZCZP wherever you are comfortable that this NPO seems to be very good and they are really doing yeoman services. And when you find that yeoman services are there, all the documents are in place, they are doing methodical working, they are working for the people who are have-nots, then you will also love to do it. Once you start working with the NPOs, then you will fall in love with the working which they are doing for the society, forgetting themselves. But there is a question. And now after this 31st March, then many new entrants into profession, they are asking this question, what fees I shall quote for SIA report? And see, anything which is less than 50,000 is not feasible due to teamwork, due to field work. Because teamwork and field work is involved, you need to pay to your assistants, you need to pay to your experts. That is the reason why any SIA report, if you want to do justice, if you want to develop the world-class report, if you want to do the real work, then your fees cannot be less than 50,000 rupees. And this is the benchmark only, because fees is not prescribed neither by SEBI, nor by Social Stock Exchange, nor by self-regulatory organization. This is just based on my experience. I'm sharing my experience because this fees is not prescribed by any of the institution. Now, a question comes that if I need to do a simple SIA, how many man days or man hours I need to put? At planning stage itself, you need 10 to 15 hours. Desktop level stage, you need 20 to 30 hours, because at desktop level, you will be developing the questionnaires also. Then you will be validating the questionnaires, so that before you go to the field or your team goes to the field, you know the subsequent questions. Your questionnaire is perfect. Your interview techniques you have educated to your team. So therefore, what is going to happen for every SIA report at desktop level, you are going to put at least 20 to 30 hours. And fieldwork stage, again, you need to put 10 to 12 hours. Wrapping up and report writing will need another 10 to 12 hours. Even if they say there is very simple report where one of the NPO which is working in the skill sector and doing only one course, and they have done say 10 batches in a year for one course where they have educated say 4,000 students. Even there you need to put at least this much of your work, your man hours. And the man hours put up by your team depends on their training. One trainee, one assistant may do the better job in less time, and other trainees or other assistants may not do that job. Now, because as of now, the total Nitinji will validate how many have passed by this time. So then as of now, the figure should be around 1,500, and today's program is being attended by 10,000. That means tell me about basics become very important. First of all, what is the genesis? Genesis is SCR Act, Securities Contract Regulation Act. And as a company secretary, because we are into A to Z, not into 0 to 9, therefore we are the most competent to develop this social impact assessment report. I am very confident about it. And this Security Contract Regulation Act, first of all, amendment happened in this, where ZCZP as a instrument was covered in the definition of securities. And once it was there, after that, SEBI regulations were amended. By this time, SEBI ICDR, SEBI LODR, SEBI AIF, all these three have been amended. SSE, by this time, both the SSEs are ready. One by NSE, that was second, and BSE was first to get the approval from SEBI, and NSE followed it. But now Ashish Chauhanji has moved to NSE. Therefore, the GIFTI has happened first. And but BSE was also there because it matters that who is the leader. Because Ashish Chauhanji now has moved from BSE to NSE, so therefore we are now expecting that for future developments, the NSE will take the lead. Earlier, BSE was taking the lead for every new initiative. Anyway, NPO nearing century now. If we combine NSE and BSE, then now they are nearing century. If we combine the funds raised by the NPOs, then now these are nearing 20 crores. And good news have been shared by NSE speaker today that the other two NPOs in the pipeline to raise the funds are going to raise 7 and 10 crores. So this is something fantastic, something good, because without the scale of the money, the cost, the expenses, the regular expenses, the one-time expenses are there, boss. You need everything. Still, these instruments are not tradable because of the this zero coupon and zero principal. These are not tradable. But I am very confident, sir, that in times to come, these instruments will also become tradable. These are just like the karmic bonds, and for good NPOs, there will be a possibility where people would like to buy from the initial donors, initial subscribers, shall I call. Anyway, now question comes that what is the objective of social impact assessment? Assessing the impact made by social enterprises through implementation of activities, intervention, programs, and projects. Now, verifying the authenticity of their data and validity of implementation, whether the project was implemented or not, whether project was completed within the timelines which were fixed at the time of FRFD and DRFD, draft fundraising document and final fundraising document. We call it DFRD and FFRD. Then whether the project has been completed. So then maybe that in times to come, the social impact assessment study will be on project to project basis also, for which the funds have been raised. This is also the likely intervention which will be taken up by NSE or BSE. They will intimate the SEBI capacity building or some committees they are formed by SEBI. As soon as committee will become aware that projects getting completed, say in the mid of the year, then there may be a need that annual impact assessment and social impact assessment report will become the project oriented also. Assessing the nature, intensity, and duration of the impact of project, because some of the projects are like that where the annual impact assessment may not be suitable thing. Evaluating the cost and efficiency. For example, just now Nitinji was talking about something that was related to the financial inclusion. Then educating usage of ATM for the cost of 500 and educating one individual at the cost of 5,000. And third organization doing it at the cost of 50 rupees for each beneficiary. It's a difference. So therefore, evaluating the cost and efficiency, that also becomes important. But because time is running out, therefore I shall also run out, leaving some time for the question. And SIA practically is starting from 24-25. So this is the time, and today Kaushalji has relaxed my nerves that the timeline has been extended for submission of these documents. These are still early days. This will be the first year for social impact assessment reports as well as annual impact assessment report. And SIA under current opportunities also include SIA under CSR, because SIA under CSR is happening for the projects which are for more than 1 crore. And if overall CSR is for more than 10 crores, then there is a mandate that social impact assessment study is to be carried out by third party. Takeover of NPOs and social enterprises, that is also one of the area where a lot of opportunities are there. Acting as election officer for the governing body of NPOs, that is also there. Procedural compliances for NPOs, that is also there. And preparation of annual impact report. This is based on my experience because I'm working with the NGO sector for now more than 12 years. And I'm working for around 80 NGOs, different things. Now, current opportunities beyond boundaries, MOEF and CC, because SIA is under environment clearance. CSR based SIA, as Rule 83 was amended in 2021, and 10 crores and 1 crore. Government programs under various ministries, and near future opportunities. Social audit of central government projects, state government projects, local government projects. I foresee that social impact assessor will enter everywhere, wherever social audit is there, even if it is for Gram Sabha or Gram Panchayat, he will enter over there. So then this profession is going to get the wings in times to come. And here is ICSI SIA. ICSI SIA has been now recognized by May 27, 2024 notification of SEBI. And in this notification, SEBI has recognized two more institutes. One is ICSI ISA and another one is ICMAI SAO. So then this now 3 SROs are there. Till 26th of May, officially there was only one SRO. Next milestone is now ICSI ISA will change its name, and this name will become in times to come the Institute of Social Impact Assessors. So this is the homework for the ICSI, and company secretaries are eligible as told by Nitinji. And I invite the company secretaries who are attending today's program that before the trainings become more difficult, before Nitinji revise the syllabus and adds more case studies, and the weightage for case study increases from 15 to 50, pass this exam. And this 3 years concept, we discussed this 3 years concept with one of the SEBI official, and he told that once you pass the exam, you need to take membership with the SRO within 3 years. So then there is some difference, and we will recheck with the SEBI whether they have changed the concept, because we were told at that time, but verbally only, that this exam is this validity of the exam is for 3 years for the purpose that you take the membership of SRO. That means the gap between passing the exam and taking the membership of SRO can be 3 years. Anyway, we will check it again. And this is the link for this. If you want to register, then you can register. Institute of Social Auditors will become in the times to come Institute of Social Impact Assessor. This is wholly owned subsidiary of ICSI. Annual fees, one-time fees, and then this is very interesting that, see, out of 8, Nitin, out of 8 which are registered on the NSC SSC, 3 are from New Delhi, 1 is from Bangalore, another one is from Mysuru, and 2 are from West Bengal. Mukti is from one of the remote district, and otherwise Calcutta is there. So this is the geographical spread. You will find that as far as western part of India is concerned, till now none of the NPO is listed on NSC SSC. Means NSC SSC, the headquarter is in Bombay, but चिराग तले अंधेरा कई बार होता है, तो इसलिए कोई बात नहीं है. बाद में बड़े वाली NPOs जो है, they will come from Mumbai and they will register. Thank you very much. And
Yes, it's indeed, it's a very impactful session. Yes, social impact has an impact on the members that have joined the session. So we have certain questions related to this section specifically. Does social impact assessment of social enterprises will require field visits like visiting schools, hospitals, etc.?
Yes, because you need to interact with the beneficiaries to understand whether they actually got benefited or not. So then interview, basically when annual impact report is there, then beneficiaries or the intermediaries who are working for that NPO, you need to interview them so that you can assess whether the things happened on the ground or not. Therefore, field work is required.
Sir, all the partners of the firm have to be qualified as social assessor?
Yes. And in my firm, there are 10 partners from 10 various parts of India. You can also develop the firm like that if you have already passed the exam. Otherwise, pass the exam, prepare a group of like-minded people, prepare a social impact assessor firm.
Sir, what is the minimum number of individual social impact assessors required to incorporate a social auditor firm?
Minimum is always 2. Partnership firm.
Sir,
NLP.
is there any database or website to search social auditor firms?
As of now, no. But you have given me an idea. The question, whosoever has put the question has given me an idea that yes, this database is required.
Whoever is practicing as a company secretary, chartered accountant, or a cost accountant, then does they need to surrender their COP to set up a social impact assessor firm?
As of now, no. Professional code of conduct don't debar it, rather they promote it. As we have seen with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and that because only that was the SRO which was recognized by SEBI as of now before 26th of May. So then they have not debarred their members and they have not asked that you surrender your CS certificate. So this is additional pocket in your additional money bag with you, but of smaller size. Smaller size money bag.
As a whether social impact assessor firm is required to be registered with SEBI or SRO? First question.
As of now, SRO or SEBI has not asked that as a firm you need to register.
Okay.
And they don't have this modus operandi to register the firm.
How a social impact assessor firm comply with the criteria of 3 years in its first year?
It is not first year. See, because this CSR reports, CSR assessment report, SIA assessment report, for the CSR activities we were doing earlier. Even there are firms which are doing the social audit for the government sector. There are firms which are doing it for voluntary things. For example, see, now in relation to the exports, what happens? That social audit is carried out even when some MNC is going to source some material from India. So there also these social audit reports were happening because whether you have employed the less than 14 years, abolition of child labor, then women, then minimum wages, then many other things. So these things are not new. And if your firm or your partners carry any experience for last 3 years or the experience which is 3 years older, then you become eligible by default. Because not many eligible firms are there. But you should have some credentials or your partner should have some credentials.
So, sir, these many questions were only there for this particular session, and now we are moving forward towards a formal vote of thanks. So, I request Nitin sir to kindly on their camera and stay with the Kaushal sir, so that we can have a formal vote of thanks for our 3 speakers of this today's EEE 8th session. So, on behalf of ICSI, I formally put thank you to all the eminent speakers that we have today, Kaushal sir, Nitin sir, and Dr. Ajay Gar, for deliberating on the topic of professional interest, social stock exchange, and social impact assessment. Definitely, the members have joined the session and enlighten themselves from this session, and hopefully new entrants will be there in the sector of social stock exchange and impact assessment. Thank you all the speakers and all the members who joined today's session. Thank you so much.